Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of SPOLITICS Live. My plan was to be on with you all for maybe at least a good half hour, just to go over a few things. As I mentioned in the descriptive note about what my plans were to talk about today, wanted to get into this NBA gambling scandal because I kind of have a lot of thoughts with that. Wanted to also share with you another situation that I was in last night, and I'll briefly share that. But this live is going to be cut short a little bit because I just got some news, and I'm going to need to actually get out of here. And maybe at a later date, I'll share with you about what that is. But for now, just keep me in your thoughts and prayers and family as well. But so I'm going to have to get off this live a little quicker. And just for the a note of housekeeping, I want to thank you all for your support. Thank you for subscribing, liking. This has been an incredible month on my YouTube channel in terms of number of subscribers. Also, just in terms of the page traffic, it's been really amazing. So I just want to thank you all for that, and just ask that you continue to like, click, subscribe, do all those wonderful things that, frankly, keep the business of these opinions in business, as to say. But first, I want to just really quickly share something with you all that happened last night that has a lot of sports fans mad at me. And it was, I feel like I have an explanation. I just feel like the more that I say it out loud, that you all are just like, come on now, sis, you got to be better than that. So last night, me and my husband, we went to see Dodgers Blue Jays game 3. There's us looking, smiling and happy, sitting in our seats, having a wonderful time. As you all know, it was a historic game for a lot of reasons. Longest game in World Series history. Dodgers wind up pulling it out on a Freddie Freeman incredible walk-off home run. Even prior to that, getting to see Shohei Ohtani in postseason action. I mean, he had 2 homers, had 2 doubles. They had to basically start walking him, once the game was tied, because frankly, why would you pitch to him? And I know a lot of fans really were upset about it because, of course, you want to see the very best of the best player in baseball. You want to see him hit. But listen, if you're the Blue Jays, there was no earthly reason to pitch to that man once you went to extra innings. No reason. Okay. Really, I think his last at bat, I feel like his last at bat might have been the 9th inning, and he was intentionally walked. So once the game was tied and they could win it on one swing, no reason to pitch to Shohei Ohtani at all. So I know baseball fans hate it. I know that it wasn't ideal because you want to see the best against the best, and you want to know in this postseason moment, can he live up to all the hype that he has certainly lived up to at this point? It doesn't make any strategic sense. So sorry, baseball fans, you were let down. So as you all know, this was 18 innings, right? We got about the 12th inning, and I was like, oh, I'm looking at that clock. I'm thinking about that traffic, and I'm weighing some things. I'm like, yes, this is a great game. And I guess for further context, I want you to know this was my husband's very first World Series game. I have been to the World Series a few times. So this was not my first game, but it was his first game, which was a big reason why I was there. And that game is going and going and going. And so we get to the 12th, and my husband makes the suggestion. He says, hey, do you want to get a little closer to where we came in, the park entrance, where we came into the park at? Because at least, we can still watch the game. We'll still be in the stadium, but we'll be a little bit closer to our exit, because at this point, there's still thousands of fans who are there, and it would be a fight to get to where we came, because where we entered, we were on the total opposite side, because we didn't realize this. I was a little bit unfamiliar with this part of Dodger Stadium. So I was like, cool, let's do that. Let's make sure that we go get a little closer. So we got, watched another inning or so. So I think it might have been the top of the 14th where I asked him, I said, hey, do you want to go? Because it's 14 innings. I don't know how long this game is going to continue. And him being the wonderful husband, that he is, he said, okay, we can go. And I was like, but if you want to stay, we can stay. And I know that husbands all know that when we introduce that if you want to stay part, we really are hoping that you'll say no. And so, or we're really hoping that you'll agree and say, yeah, let's go ahead and leave or whatever. And so we did it. We leave. Now, understanding LA traffic from where we live, like we're in South LA, to Dodger Stadium, it took us an hour to get there, but we left in plenty of time. We left at 2:30 p.m. Took us an hour to get there. We had some other little snafus, and by the time that we made it to our seat on time, we were good. And on the way back, it took us 20 minutes to get home. 20 minutes. So, and we leave, no traffic. We beat everybody. But we did leave. I think the top of the 14th, we left the longest game in World Series history. So I have a question for you all. I know y'all gonna be honest. Was I a bad sports fan because I left this historic game early, meaning I missed the Freddie Freeman home run? And here's the crazy part is that I had World Series tickets last year. I couldn't go. My husband was out of town on business. And so we gave them to another friend of ours. And, it was, or maybe I could have gone, but I just wound up not going because I wasn't that interested in going. And so she saw the Freddie Freeman, home run that he hit last year. I think it was a walk-off grand slam. She saw that last year, a friend or whatever. So I missed it. So here's the thing. I understand that a lot, like I said this on Threads, a lot of sports fans were highly upset at me. And they were just like, I cannot believe you actually left the game early. But in my defense, and you can tell me if this is not a credible enough defense. I am not from Los Angeles. I'm not a Dodgers fan. I was just going, frankly, because my husband wanted to go. And I know that he had never been to a World Series game. And here is kind of the unevenness about our relationship when it comes to sports. Because I have been covering sports for as long as I have, I've seen a lot of games. I've seen a lot of great games. I've covered the World Series, 2 Olympics, multiple Super Bowls, national championships in both men's basketball, women's basketball, and college football. I have literally been to every major sporting event. I've been to the World Cup, covered that. I have not missed a thing. I've seen some great moments, some historic players. I've seen them all. And I'm not saying that sports doesn't possess the ability to surprise, because it does. And certainly I wanted to see Shohei Ohtani in the postseason. And I felt like I definitely got my money's worth because I saw those home runs. I saw the doubles. Yeah, the walking. Okay, that wasn't ideal. But the fact is I got to see one of the face of baseball perform and perform at a high level. So at this point in my sports career, I don't love going to live sporting events unless I can be seriously personally invested. Like we went to the Super Bowl when it was in Vegas, San Francisco, the 49ers, my team, they were in the Super Bowl. We went to that Super Bowl. But we didn't go to the game because them tickets, I was like, first of all, you know how many organs? In fact, the tickets were so high, I don't think I had enough organs to give should I have chosen to do that. But we were in Las Vegas. We were enjoying the atmosphere and all that, and it's cool. Now I'm from Detroit. If this would have been the Tigers versus the Dodgers, you're damn right I probably would have stayed. But the reality is I'm not from here. The Dodgers are not my team. I go to see them because I enjoy just seeing good baseball, but I'm not so invested that I feel like I need to suffer through an 18-inning game. If that makes me a shitty sports fan, so be it. Okay? Now, this morning, well, I wouldn't even say this morning. So last night after, of course, on the way home, we're listening to the game on the radio. We get back to our house before Freddie Freeman hits the home run. So we see all of this live. So it's fine. And of course, as soon as we see it, my husband is like, we should have stayed. And I knew he was going to feel that way because he has not been able to witness some of these moments that I've been fortunate enough to witness. I realize that what I'm saying is coming from a highly privileged position of being somebody who has been able to see really phenomenal sporting events without having to pay for pretty much 95% of them. I understand this. But it's also because of this that when it comes to live sporting events, it's just hard to get me to go to them. And most of the times, especially since I've been married and got serious with my husband, most of the times I do go to them is because it's giving him a new experience that he's never had. So I enjoy that. And when I was still at ESPN and we were broadcasting from the finals, it was at that point I was doing Sports Center. We were broadcasting from the finals, was able to get him tickets to the finals. So he was able to see, it was, I'm trying to think, was it the 3-1? I feel like it was the 3-1 Cavaliers comeback. It was that series. So he was able to do it. And so it is, so now today I'm dealing with guilt because this morning my husband said we should have stayed. And now I feel like the worst wife in the world because I didn't want to stay because frankly, I thought about the fact that we would probably have been sitting in that parking lot for 2 hours. Like Dodger Stadium is not the easiest to get to, and it's definitely not the easiest to get out of. And I know you could say that to some degree about every arena or stadium in the country, but I find Dodger Stadium to be particularly bad. And if you're from Los Angeles, you know what I mean. And the idea of being 2 hours in the parking lot for a team, frankly, I don't have no paraphernalia with Dodgers on it. Again, okay, that's great for the city. I have no emotional interest in this game whatsoever. And Cat Daddy, stop making me feel worse, but you haven't seen him with your husband. You took a historic moment away from him. Okay, put it on the ledger. I guess I did. But I just couldn't do it. I mean, I could do it, but it was like the idea of sitting there for we'd have been there that game wasn't over until midnight West Coast time. So it's 3 a.m. on the East Coast, right? And then again, the 2 hours to be stuck in parking in the parking lot. And because of the way that the Dodgers won, that parking lot wasn't going to be nothing nice. They was probably going to be celebrating in that piece for a minute. Wasn't nobody probably trying to move. Everybody was probably trying to parking lot celebrate, parking lot pimp. I'm like, I probably wouldn't have got home to a good 2:33 in the morning. For real. I'm old, y'all. I'm washed. And then even in particular, I'm sports washed, which means that I only got so much I can give in these games that I, again, have no vested personal interest in. Like, I understand being able to have the brag of being a sports fan and say, I was there, the 18th inning, I stayed all the way, I saw Freddie Freeman's home run. I understand this moment. I can list off 15 of those moments that I have experienced. And this is not to say they're all created the same, but it is to say that is the unfortunate part of doing what I do. I'm not asking y'all to feel sorry for me. I am not saying that look, I got the world's smallest violin right now, but I feel like I wasn't a bad sports fan, but I feel like I might've been a bad wife. How about that for a compromise? Was I a bad wife because I didn't stay and my husband missed out on this moment? And you know what was so funny is like, I had the choice between tickets yesterday or tickets today. And Shohei Ohtani is actually pitching today. And my husband asked me, he was like, are you sure you can't get those tickets? And I can't get the tickets. But I can tell you that if I could get the tickets, him and one of his boys would be going. It wouldn't be me. And I feel, look at us. We are enjoying this game. It was a picture perfect evening. Dodger Stadium. It was really great. But yeah, y'all, I ain't got it in me no more to be, and maybe it's just us because the crazy part is I think every game we've been to this year has wound up going into extra innings. So we started the baseball season. One of the first series that the Dodgers played was against the Tigers. Okay. we went to that game because, of course, we went to go see our hometown, see what was up. And that went to extra innings. We stayed till the end. All right. And that didn't feel like a lift to me because I wanted to see if the Tigers could beat, the Dodgers, favorites to win the World Series. They're on their repeat mission. That was an easy yes for me. That damn Mookie Betts, he sent us home heartbroken, but it's okay. Fast forward to, I guess it would have been technically earlier this month since we're still in October by a thread. We go to see Rams 49ers at SoFi. It goes to overtime. Now, I know in football it's a little different because we know the game is going to end at some point. And, it's going to end whether you want to or not. We go see Rams 49ers. That also goes into overtime. We see a great game, stay to the end. Fine. I'm a 49ers fan. Of course, I'm invested. This game, a little harder, even though it's the World Series. I mean, I'm just saying, guys, like, players mess up. Wives mess up. I got to figure out a way to make it up to this man because I denied him a historic sports moment. But now, because of the overtime streak / extra inning streak that we've been on, now I'm afraid to go to another game with him this year because, if it ain't one of our teams, I'm going to be like looking at the exit, like, you sure you don't want to go? I get it. So, some of y'all are going off on me. I understand going off on me in a loving, instructive, constructive way, saying, okay. So look at this. Okay. Hotubu, hopefully I'm saying this right. It's understandable, but the privilege is the thing that wasn't taken into account. If you both had careers in sports, it would be different. Bad wife is a bit extreme. Thank you for making me feel a little bit better. And as I said, in this way, it works out, and I'm glad, because if I wasn't with somebody who hadn't witnessed some of these moments or been to some events, I'd be turning down, tickets and opportunities left and right, just because I feel like when it came to the whole live sporting event experience, especially if my team wasn't in it, I've sort of been there and done that, and so it gets a little hard to go to these events and be invested. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm at the point in my watchness, in my sports watchness, where I think the best seat in the house is at your house. Couch, got your snacks, got your drinks, refrigerator right there, your own TV. You don't have to worry about parking. By the way, let me just say this about parking real quick. This is another thing where I have been totally spoiled. When you're a member of the media, you get free parking. Your experience is basically free. So, and usually your parking is very close to the stadium, get in and get out. And because you're covering a game, you're not on the same timetable as everybody else, meaning you get to the game early before the crowd gets there. You leave late after the crowd is already gone. So you don't really experience traffic. You go through a separate entrance. You don't have to go through the same metal detectors. So it's completely different. But I tell you what, I got to commend y'all fans, because if I didn't get tickets, basically through some good connections of mine, I wouldn't be paying this price for some of this shit, because this is wild what it costs to attend not just sporting events in general, but high-level sporting events. The kinds of sporting events that fans kind of dream of, right? And so last night we get to Dodger Stadium. Parking, general admission parking was $80. And I was like, is Chelsea Clinton playing? Like, what is $80? Feel like my man on Baby Boy. $40. How about $80? I did not know that's how it was running. I mean, that's crazy. And at least from what I could glean from other fans is like, that was the World Series cost, because I guess when it's just a regular season Dodgers game, it's like $45. But now that these playoffs are here, it's $80 to park in general admission. And where we were parked, I was like, well, shit, we might as well have parked in downtown LA, because it was, man, I was like, we've talked about this as sports fans and in the media in general. These types of experiences they don't care about average fans. I mean, that's very obvious. Like, this is about appealing to a certain type of customer. That's what it is. It's like they know they can get away with charging these kind of just obnoxious prices for for parking, general admission. So yeah. But anyway, that was my experience last night. Y'all have let me know in these comments. Was I a bad wife? Wait, was I a bad wife and a bad sports fan, or just a bad wife? Y'all let me know. I appreciate your honest feedback. But that was just wild to me seeing that. I was like, $80 damn. Oh my God. I'm like, are they gonna wash the car like when we park it? Is there something else that comes with this? Or do we get some kind of white glove service that I am unaware of? Anywho, as I mentioned at the top of this live, and again, please click and subscribe and do all those things. I would stay on with you guys longer, but I have a personal situation that I need to deal with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on giving you my thoughts about this NBA gambling scandal, because there's a lot of interesting things here. And there's some insights I want to let you guys in on, particularly as it relates to the gambling culture in sports, in professional sports. That's nothing to do with casinos or anything like that, but just in general, that players gamble quite a bit. They do. And they gamble amongst each other. We've heard about the legendary stories with Michael Jordan. And, there are certain, like, I know of teams that have banned certain card games and or outright banned gambling activity among the team, because the gambling can get really bad and it can extend itself to fracturing relationships and those kind of things. But unfortunately, as I said, I got a personal situation that I have to deal with that literally just popped up right before I hopped on this live. Appreciate your good thoughts, good vibes, and prayers and everything. Everything will be fine, I'm sure. But I will check back in with you either tomorrow or maybe a little bit later in this week, so we can get into this and just a couple other things that I want to cover. So y'all take it easy. I'm still thinking about that $80 though. But anyway, y'all take it easy. I'll be back with y'all sooner rather than later. All right. So thanks for allowing me to grab your attention for this 20 minutes. All right. I'll holla. Y'all have a good evening.